Welcome to the Myself Wellness Podcast. I'm Charles Patti, the voice of Myself Wellness, along with my co-hosts Christina Thomas and Jamies Veneziale. 9 years ago, I began my journey to self-awareness and healing. Like many who have faced personal struggles, I felt lost and struggled to find lasting healing. It wasn't until I discovered alternative healing methods that I began to see a real change in my life. This show will help you unlock your true potential through healthy lifestyle practices and transformations. Join us as we explore personal stories, expert advice, and practical tips to help you step into your true potential and level up. Welcome to the Myself Wellness Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Myself Wellness Podcast. Today we have Donny Arcade, who is a conscious musician, and we met him at the Consciousness Awards back in, what month was that? Like 2 months ago? 3 months ago? I don't even know.
The Forbidden Knowledge Awards, hosted by Billy and Elizabeth Carson. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show. It was a pleasure to meet you. It's really synchronistic, man, because Christina had actually talked. She told me that she had listened to some of your music, and then within 48 hours after that, we were having a conversation about it, and then we're meeting you on the way up into the boat. I love how the universe works like that, man.
Oh yeah, you know how it works.
Yeah, for sure, man. So tell me, listen, I love your music. I love the style of it, and the whole conscious rap thing. What made you go in that direction rather than kind of going in I don't know, man. I almost want to call it
Trap rap?
yeah, you know.
Well, honestly, it wasn't a planned kind of thing. It was the stuff that I'm really into. So even if you go back years ago, I got stuff that's, that go back to the early 2000s to the 90s, and you will always hear that curiosity for Atlantis and pyramids and different worlds, and as rappers, we always try to find cool stuff to put in our raps and cool metaphors. And typically a lot of the stuff was inspired by your day at school. You might have a day at school in science class, and whatever you learned that day, the Great Wall of China, I might put that in my rap. So it's a lot of that. And then eventually, a lot of my albums were, and I would say my style is a little bit of everything, because I do come from the traditional street rap. The other kind of rap it's a gumbo of all things. But then eventually I use, that particular recipe and chemistry to add more cinematic themes and more storytelling. So, it might be a club beat, but at the same token, I might be talking about ancient Mesopotamia or something like that. So it's a weird way you end up where you're going. You never know what kind of recipe you're going to end up. But it's, I was just inspired by all this stuff. I still am. I spend most of my day researching and, looking at documentaries. So it's natural.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, it's needed.
Yeah, 100%.
New paradigm of rap.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So what really led you down this pathway? Did you have were you raised with this awareness of being conscious, or did you have some sort of awakening in your life that triggered this direction that you were going, or was it really just being interested in a lot of this knowledge and kind of researching it and following that pathway?
Yeah, I believe some of it is genetic memory. Some things that you see and you're just so attracted to it and you love it. So even when I see things in Egypt or China, wherever, any kind of relics, I have a natural curiosity for those kind of things. My favorite stuff in school was science class. And, so naturally it always been there. It wasn't until I met Billy until I really made a whole album full of it. So when I met Billy, I had, I might have the 2 or 3 scientific, historical kind of songs. And then I might have my club song and my smoke weed song, other songs and all things like that. But I met Billy, he was like, hey, you might want to make a whole album about that, and it sparked my creativity and it sparked my challenge to try to pull that off. So eventually I made a whole album, which was We Are Not Alone, which is a full album of more esoteric knowledge and maybe a full album of the things I used to do on 1 or 2 songs. So throughout that process, pretty much, kind of got me in the path, and it showed me a particular genre that I didn't think existed. I think at that time when we dropped that album, 2015, 14, it was kind of, left field from a lot of the stuff that was going on. You didn't hear those kind of themes on trap beats and kind of stuff like that, bro. And I made Anunnaki, I want to say 2013. So I made that, and then that's how I met Billy. So pretty much it was an organic process. It's never really, and that's how I like it to be. I don't want to just say, hey, I'm being conscious. I'm trying to be, and sometimes you can tell when people come off like that because you're just trying too hard, and it's like, hey, man, you got to be real. You got to be, and people like all this, authentic stuff, and people like to, because they can feel that you're really interested in these things. So yeah.
See, and that's actually definitely the vibe that I get when I'm listening to your music. It doesn't feel forced like that. It's very organic, and you can tell that you're very passionate about your craft and what you're actually rapping about. So I salute you for that, brother. Keeping it real, you know what I'm saying?
And I love it, man. Like I want to evolve. I really want to evolve, and I want my music to evolve to a point where it's, 100% medicine. It's we add just music, it's an actual experience. And I think with technology in the future, we may be able to feel sounds in the future. We may be able to taste sounds, so we never know what kind of medium would be in the future. But that's where in my mind, I'm like, hey, man, I want to do this until I'm 100 years old. So
I believe it. I mean, everything is vibrations and frequencies. And there's a conspiracy theory out there that all of the bells were destroyed because you would go to church and there would be the bells, and they would ring the bells and they would actually hear you.
Yeah.
Feel you.
Heal you. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so like,
I don't know.
no, yeah, right. No. And like,
Going down a rabbit hole.
no, I'm a big believer in that. And like, I guess that kind of leads me into the question of where, your music is medicine, right? And especially when you have these positive things that you're talking about, and then people sing along to your songs, and now all of a sudden we're speaking things into existence. My question for you is, do you actually like use different healing frequencies when you're putting your music out?
Talk about that.
Or if it's something that you don't want to talk about, we don't have to, but like.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And all my music, it don't touch no paper. I don't write. So literally it's all, it's all channels. So that's why, like, even with because even when you write it sounds written. It sounds, so like, what works for me is to just, I might do 4 bars at a time. I might do the whole song sometimes. I might really go through the whole song and do all my different parts. But yeah, so a lot of it is channeled. And it's strictly from the heart, it's whatever I absorb that day. I wouldn't call myself a scholar of anything particular, it's just, I'm an artist. So what I see that inspires me would make me make a song about it. Now, a lot of things I do know, but I don't know everything, but I tell you what I know.
Yeah, I never feel you, man. I feel you. I would I feel like a lot of people like that are really getting it. It's not about being a scholar as much as it's about like really living the message and tapping into these higher frequencies, you being that channel for the divine to really like use us to put this message out there, man. And so I feel that one of the ways that we actually get channeled, or that we can actually channel or be, this vessel to put out these messages, is basically by raising our vibration, keeping our frequency high. What are some of the things that you do in your life to like really keep your vibration high and like keep yourself on that higher vibrational frequency?
Yeah, absolutely. I do a lot of, I wake up, I stretch, I'm always sitting and stretching because I can feel the energy from that. So even before I go to bed and when I wake up, I go for walks. And my whole musical process isn't, because for me to be in that frequency, everything got to be done. Bills got to be paid. Life's got to be in alignment. My studio's got to be clean and spotless. So for me to get this particular sound, it has to be said a certain way. If it's everything all around me and I got a whole bunch of people, like, and that's why my process is more personal, because I really don't, I do everything. I produce it. I engineer it. I market it. I do the animation. So it's a blessing for me to be able to do all those things. But at the same token, life got to be in order for you to, even feel like that, for it to even work. So a lot of times, working out, stretching, listening to all sorts of music. I go down a rabbit hole of music and vintage music and different cultures, vintage soundtracks, foreign music. I go down the rabbit hole. I love to study people too. I love documentaries and biographies of different people and different great people. And I just try to stay inspired, man. Really try to find whatever frequency. I take a little bit of everything. I might, just a little bit of everybody, and just because everybody's an important instrument in the symphony of the world. I don't think no wrong. Everybody, the wolf is right, the snake is right, the cow is right. I'm saying everybody has got their own particular life, and I think it's all a simulation. We're here to learn. So
So let's talk about that, because that's one of my favorite subjects, man. And actually, listen, when we were on the boat that night, I went up to Billy and I'm like, listen, I was like, I've been dying to ask you this question. So just let me get it off my chest real quick. And he's like, go ahead, man. And I'm like, so is this a manifestation of the collective mind of God, or is this an AI simulation? And if it is an AI simulation, are we anything separate from the AI? So are we the AI? And he goes, all of those answers are correct.
they are, it's like being in the video game. We could sit there inside that video game and study everything. We could study the high score. We see the high score up there. We got the measurements. We got the materials. We studied this landscape, but we're in a video game. So it's like the truth is so beyond our bandwidth that you can just enjoy the simulation and just understand that you can control it. You can control what kind of paradigm you want to be in. My personal opinion, based on what you interested in. It's just trying to accommodate you. What you like. You want to think about sad stuff all day? Oh, you must want a sad movie. Let's try to pick the right movie for you.
That's what's
All
up.
a choice.
It is. It's like what we put our focus on manifests into our life. And I think that's like, isn't it? And like, I think that's actually really important when it even comes to music. It's like if I'm listening to things that are probably what you wouldn't think of as really positive things or whatever, that's going to tend to manifest into my life. But if I like sit there and listen to like conscious things that are positive, that when I'm singing along to it, I'm saying positive affirmations and things like that, I think that's a very powerful tool to
Uplift you
100%.
rather than bring you down. And I don't know. I feel like the industry needs an overhaul because they just talk about so many negative things, killing people and doing drugs and all these things that aren't good for our mind or to help elevate the collective. So I don't know. I feel like what you're doing is just so powerful and so important and just on the whole other end of the spectrum.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And that's what I picture. I really want to do my part because the whole spectrum is beautiful. So even the dark parts that we don't agree with, because, you got people that go to Chick-fil-A. Like, I love all animals, you know what I'm saying? So, like, just because it's not a horror movie to you, don't mean that ain't a horror movie, you know what I'm saying? So I really try to just get in the balance and say, hey, man, let me not judge too much. Let me do my part. And I think even with music, people need an example. We haven't had an example. I think it would be more of that if we had successful examples of creativity,
I agree.
And with me, I want to transcend beyond the words, because to me, even with me, I'm a pattern frequency rapper. So like sometimes it's beyond the words. Just say if an alien came from outer space and it didn't know our words, it will connect with those frequencies and those patterns. It could tell how you feeling based on those chants and grunts and different things and be like, okay, so that's what I want music to go into, is more of I fight for creativity.
Yeah.
So
I feel like a lot of music is cellular memory almost, because I heard a song that came out in 1998, and I still remembered the words, right? I'm like 8 or 9 years old and I still remembered, and I haven't heard that song in years. So how can we better program ourselves to program with more conscious things, more affirmative things, or frequencies that are healing us, like you were talking about?
music is a reflection of the world. So we can't change the music until we change the world and these places. These people in places can't just rap about chakras and meditating that they, they're seeing calamity and drugs. They're going to talk about what they see. So we look at that, music is just a mirror of what's going on.
100%. Listen, and like when I was talking about like, there's no judgment from me. Believe me, like my entire life, I listened to like gangster rap and do like trap music and stuff like that. Like that was my life, growing up to Gucci and Master P and like Boozy and all that. And listen, like, and I still love all the music or whatever. But I do notice now that like where I've grown to in my life that it's I definitely prefer. I still listen to the other stuff too, so don't get me wrong, I really do, man. But the thing is like I'm really trying to keep my mind as clean and as high vibrational as possible, so that all of these positive things manifest into my life. And I don't think people really realize just how spiritual music is, man. But like music is almost completely spiritual to me.
Absolutely. And we just got to get more people in that frequency of, realization. Cause I was the same way. I grew up on all that stuff, but now I can look at that stuff in a different way. It's just like getting healthy and you finally cut all this stuff out your diet, but now you can go back to certain things in a more healthy way. And like, hey, I'm just not going to eat any particular 99-cent thing. I need some $25. If I'm gonna eat something, it's got to be something gourmet. So you can go back to it. So I really think we need a lot. We just got to do our job, and it's always gonna be there. It's just like the lava and the volcano. It's always gonna be that flow of negativity, of positive and negative. It's just about what kind of experience you want. And some people, paradise is different. Some people, some people really want that kind of other paradise and say, hey, I just want to do this. And how can wrong, I don't know.
No, I agree, man. Listen, and the truth is like where I'm at now, it's like, I don't really think there's any, I don't look at things as good or bad anymore. I look at things as just being, it just is, and actually like, in the oneness or like this, in all of this being one collective consciousness, like everything is divine, man. Everything is divine. And so it's like, there is no judgment on any aspects. I think that everything is incredibly necessary. Like I always say, I had to go through my really dark times to get into the light. And I think that that's like a part of everybody's path. And so like it's everything's perfect, and it always has been, man.
Absolutely. Everything is hieroglyphics. We need all the story. If somebody need to tell the story, we can't just tell all the good stuff. We need all the.
It wouldn't be interesting that way.
We need all the records of what was going on. We can't. It was shootings going on. It was people killing each other. It was bad, all kind of things going on. So I really think we are all hieroglyphics and stories and tablets and scrolls, and you just got to be you. And I think the real bad thing is who you are and not being who you are. So if you know that you're of the light and you're not being of the light, then I think that's against nature. But some animals are vicious. Some people, they were here to keep an order, or they were here to make examples and show their life might have been dedicated to save other people. To say, hey, you don't want to let them have.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, man. I think that like everything's a lesson or a blessing, and you can see it all, and sometimes it's both, and like you can see that through people as well. And one thing now is like where I used to be is I used to have to do the same things over and learn the same lessons over and over again, no matter how hard the lessons are, right? And like now I think since like we're all mirrors of each other, right? Like I can actually like look at other people's journeys and be like, okay, I'm going to learn what to do or not to do from that journey. So we saw you perform at the Forbidden Knowledge Awards, and it was amazing. So you, Billy, and I can't remember the other guy's name who are on, or there's a couple of you on stage doing a song together, but like, did you guys all get together and collaborate to like make that music together, or was the music already made and then everybody kind of like added their pieces into it, or how did that unfold?
it was like it was almost like a freestyle. Now we had a base of the lyrics and the main melody of the song that existed, but once we went up there, it was a live performance of it. So each time you do a live performance, it'll never be the same. So it's something you just never know, especially with Dr. B on the drums. That was all him. That was in his mind, and we couldn't see it until it came out of his mind. So yeah, so it was just a magical thing with that. We never know how it was gonna go.
I love it, man.
Stop.
It was great because listen, when you guys were like you had everybody in the audience like speaking together in synchronicity. You're like, and everybody was saying these positive affirmations as a whole. It was like so powerful, man. I looked over at Christina when you guys were on stage.
Don't mean broke.
Not just woke don't mean broke, but that like all of the positive things. And I looked at her and I go, this entire room right now is speaking positive energy out into the universe. This is so powerful, man.
And I think that's what we need for the industry. We need the industry to see the powerful effect of that, because sometimes the industry, I really don't think they care about what's what. They just want to make money. But if we can show people we can be successful with this particular, because success unfortunately runs the world, and success increases and it helps things evolve. So we need this kind of music to be successful, and that's why I try to make it in a way where it can't be mainstream. I don't want to be underground. I want to be universal. I want to be worldwide. I want to be in all countries. I want it to be clean and not too vulgar or anything. I just want a product that can go the furthest it can go.
See, and I dig that, man. Like, I think that's what the world and that's what the youth needs a lot too. Is because, like, listen, like, I used to be a completely different version of the person that I am today. I used to run the streets. I used to make money in ways I probably shouldn't have been making money. I was in trouble all of the time and stuff like that. And it's like I was always trying to like accomplish that status of like where it's like I'm watching things and I'm emulating it because I'm like, well, I want the nice cars and I want like the pretty girl and I want the nice lifestyle or whatever. And I was thinking that was the map of me to get
the point I was trying to make before.
What?
But it just didn't come out right.
But like that was the roadmap to where I thought that I was going to accomplish those things, right? But see, I think that what we need to do is like show that this is cool. Like this is cool too. Like you can like be a conscious person and you can be ultra successful and put these positive messages out into the universe, and then like it'll still get attention and still get play. Like I've heard like those conversations, where like Meek was talking about, he was like, oh, well, like if I don't rap about certain things, it's not going to get no playtime. Right. And see, the thing is like, I think that that's this paradigm that is shifting now, and that like you're a pioneer in it, and like I'm doing what I can to like shift the narrative of how it looks like to be a successful person to the younger generation. How do you stand true? Like, how do you stay strong and keep on being that positive person and kind of like not going in the direction just for the immediate clout and all of that kind of stuff, man? Like what motivates you to do that? What inspires you to do that?
Well, it's the music, and me, I want to transcend conscious rapper. Like, I'm an artist, so we need artists that represent conscious things. But I think as long as we keep putting it in the box, they're gonna look at it like, oh, it's gospel. Oh, this is this, this is that, so like with me, I try to be a true artist, and there's so many different paradigms of consciousness. Sometimes people just go into, oh, I'm chakras, I'm meditating, all this, cliche stuff, but it's so many different levels of it, of just, being manhood, being family, being different things. All this is consciousness, you know what I'm saying? And then it has to transcend the words. And that's what keeps me on my mission, because I am chasing that frequency, that music. It may evolve. I might just make a whole new genre, because I think there's room for it to actually come up with something new and different. And I'm always chasing the music. I'm always I think that's the universal language. As long as we keep putting all the words and all these definitions, okay, that's cool, but it is separating these words, these titles, conscious, rapper, all this stuff is separating where we need to be in the pool with everybody and say, hey, no, this is art. This is high level art. You ain't got to put it in the conscious box. You ain't got to put it in the trap box. You ain't got to put it in no box. This is high level art.
That was
Dr.
really
Ferber always says that like when you put labels on things, that's what defines you, and you shouldn't live in that.
that you just shifted my perspective right there with saying what you said. So I appreciate that, man, because I was putting it in the box and didn't even realize I was putting it in the box, man.
Hey, I mean, we all got to, get out the box. Sometimes we put ourselves in a box. And sometimes I just kind of say those things to kind of change the frequency and say, hey, no, I'm not just a conscious artist. So it's like somebody looking at the sun and just say, oh, that's the sun. And you finally get to meet the sun. He'd be like, no, I am way more complex than your term that you have for me or your definition that you think that I am. Like, no, I'm beyond that. Me personally, I just feel like, hey, man, I love art and I respect everybody's art. And I like to look down on because it's like movies. Like, hey, man, so I like horror movies. I like sci-fi movies. So this is their art and this is their hieroglyphics of what they're going through. So I think until we get to a place where we can respect everybody's art and say, hey, we needed all of them because that art is going to help my art look better. It's going to help me make a contrast from what you do to what I do. So yeah, I want to by, the minds to, to everybody to stop separating everybody, to stop classifying everybody and
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. It's funny, man, because I always say psychedelic medicine's taught me that the proverbial box that they try to fit everybody in doesn't exist. The box is just an illusion. And there it was. I was boxed in again, man. So listen, speaking of psychedelics, what do you think about this kind of like this revolution of healing with these other alternative modalities is and like if you do, and if you're okay answering the question or whatever, like have you ever had any kind of psychedelic experiences?
I haven't, outside of, herb, that's my only thing, it's real wine, but outside of that, I haven't. Sometimes I'm scared too because I think I'm already tapped in. My frequency, and I'm naturally in a psychedelic experience.
Yes. Well, so you know what, man? That's what like a lot of healers and shamans and stuff like that. They say, listen, like you take the medicine until you become the medicine, right? And it seems like you're already holding that frequency. You already are the medicine, man.
I see the pool. Like if y'all could see my pool of apps that I have in my mind, you know what I'm saying? Infinite apps that I can go to in my mind and make stuff and, and think and research. But yeah.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So I saw that you recently dropped some new music. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. That's the new album on Everybody Wants Your Energy. It was just inspired by a frequency calibration. Just say, hey, you have to protect your energy. And it's just so much of that. And that's just how I was feeling, just making the album, just to say, hey, I want to make something that was some sort of a medicine, some sort of a mantra. But yeah, beautiful album. It came out really cool. Shout out to my homeboy, Mr. Traumatic. I have him on there. I have the trap pianist on there. Whole album is produced by me, engineered by me. Yeah.
I didn't know that you produced all of your own stuff and everything, man. That's awesome, bro. I love that, man.
Other producers too, but I would say over the last 2-3 years I produced them.
That's what's up, man.
Shout out to the trap pianist too. He's such a nice guy.
Heck yeah.
We have an album on the way. Just get ready. It's a new album. I won't say the name yet. I don't know if you want me to tell it, but hey, it's on the way.
That's what's up. So listen, man, when you rap about like, and you're into like all of these like, like with the Anunnaki and these, these ET civilizations and stuff like that, like, what do you think, man? Do you think that it's going to all come to light? And do you think that there's going to be a mass disclosure about all of this stuff? Or do you think it's kind of just going to keep getting swept under the rug?
Well, I feel an abundance of reality.
Yeah.
One thing I always base myself on, we're in this simulation. So it can be many realities, many histories, many versions of what happened. But I believe I believe a lot of it did happen, and a lot of things did happen on this planet, or what we call the planet.
Yeah.
You know, whatever was implanted in our brains to remember, we never know. But yeah, I really think it's cool. I'm very much into it. I'm actually working on a movie that's going to be on the way real soon, hopefully before Christmas.
That's what's up, man. Heck yeah.
Yeah, the name of the movie is called 3600, and it's off the chain, so it's on the way.
That's what's up.
That.
Yeah, that's what's up. See, man, I think that like I believe all of it, and I think that a lot of them are actually already here. I think that what this is that like, you know, that there's different frequencies that beings are at also. And so I believe that a lot of these beings are at higher vibrational frequencies and less dense frequencies. And so I think that as collectively, as our planet raises its vibration, that a lot of these things will actually start to appear to us. Because I've had some very profound experiences with these kind of, you know, entities or beings or whatever you want to call them and stuff like that. And a lot of it did happen on psychedelics, but I've actually had some other ones that really weren't on psychedelics that I've seen some pretty amazing things. And so it's like, I don't know, it'll be, I really feel that like, as we keep on healing as a civilization, and as we keep on like starting to shift into these more holistic healing modalities and really getting on that frequency, that the world is going to start seeing some really magical stuff.
And I think it's already happening. I think we're just so desensitized to what this is. We're desensitized to what we are. You know, we are actually gods right now.
Yes.
Look at what we're doing. I'm talking to a screen. Y'all somewhere on the other side of the world. We're doing God stuff. We can go in dreams and worlds and travel and go through our frequencies. We got dolphins and all kind of stuff that we take for granted, and octopuses that are true aliens to this planet. All kind of stuff is already here. By the time it happens, we won't know it happened. Just like we don't know it happened right now. We're flying, we're going to space. I mean, what more can you see to say, what do you want? You want a planet to come talk to you? This planet is alive. There's so much here already. It's already going on, you know. I just think we're just looking for something, and we will find something, and everything has its history. So even we have our history. Just because we could do these things now don't mean we couldn't do these things back then. Even better.
I like that, you know, like I believe with what you were just talking about, like, you know, like I mean, in the oneness of everything, which we can call like consciousness or God, I mean, and we are like all collectively it. That means that we're nothing separate from it. And so it's like, you know, like we're all it, man. And like, I think that's a big responsibility actually, once you actually get to that place where you kind of realize that, because once you awaken to that, then it's like, all right, well, what am I going to do with it now? And, you know, and like, that's my thing, is like, I am manifesting a healing organism that's going to help transform humanity to a higher state of consciousness. And I don't mean like me specifically, even though like I'm definitely one of the droplets of water that hopefully can meet up with all of the other droplets and make this big splash that's going to like send this positive healing out into the rest of consciousness. But, you know, what do you think, man?
Well, I think we're going to see a lot, but again, we have to be appreciative for what we have right now and to understand what we got. Like even AIs, eventually AI will be trying to figure out who made us.
I just watched a video, and it was these two AI podcast hosts, but they didn't know that they were AI. And the guy, the male AI, thought that he had a family, and he went to go call his wife and kids, but there was nobody on the other end. And then this AI is realizing that it's just AI and it was created for entertainment. And it was like this earth shattering feeling for it because it was all real to him.
Exactly. That's an example of how easily a simulation could be created and something not know where it come from. And just think, through the years of telephone, it'd be a whole nother version of what say we're not around no more. It'd be like, okay, who made us?
Well, that's what so I'm a huge believer that we are in a simulation. Okay. Like that's what my philosophy is. And I think that that's my big question is, and Elon Musk asked this question too, is not like he says what's outside the simulation. And I don't think that that's as important to me as who made the simulation, What are your thoughts on that?
That's a deep thought, and that is a scary thought. And I think the one thing that we don't know the feeling of is feeling like an animal. Like an animal can feel like an animal. They'll see us, and not to say there's lesser than us or anything, but it sees something that can pick it up and take care of it. We don't know how that feels. We've been oblivious to that kind of emotion to say, oh, yeah, this thing could just come pick me up and put me over here, and or it's something so much more intelligent than us. So I think
It is Sims.
I know, and Billy talks about that too. He's like, have you ever seen the game The Sims or whatever? Are we the Sims?
close. I think we're close to the guys as well because we're doing a lot of God-like stuff, and we can see things in this particular simulation that's not benefiting as much of brain power and being able to do things outside of their habitat or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think it's a thought, man. I never try to say I know, man, because we don't know.
No, we don't. I think that's
The
what
more
really
we say we know, the
less
less
we know. Yeah, I think that one of the things that really makes an intelligent person to me is like being able to have the ability to know that you could be completely wrong about everything at any given time.
And not have that be earth shattering.
And not have that be earth shattering. Listen, man, I had a psychedelic experience a decade ago, and I ended up on a ship with these higher dimensional beings, and they were amphibious frog people, right? And then Jesus was there, and I was telepathically communicated to, and it was this mind-blowing experience, right? Where I was told about the oneness of everything, and now how we're all a part of it. We are the universe, and that I was supposed to, quit doing what I was doing with my life and get myself together so I could be of service and help other people. And the crazy thing was, man, was after I ended up back in my body at the end of that night, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, everything I've believed my entire life is a lie,
Yeah. And I think if we base a lot of it, anything we want to contemplate on, if we can base it on and say, okay, well, this is a simulation. I always use that as a fundamental, just a first step to say, okay, reality can change. Because sometimes people are so set on the definition and, I know the date, I know what they ate. And it's, come on, we have to be real. And sometimes we have to realize we might be only a percentage of the truth on all things.
That's very true, man. Very true. So do you believe that collectively that we can change this world? Or man, do you think with all of the way that things shifting, do you think that there's going to be I see this massive awakening that we're kind of going through right now. Do you think that that's the direction that everything's heading in? And when I say awakening, meaning awakening to our own divinity, awakening to the fact that we all are these embodiments of the divine that are walking here and manifesting together. Do you think that that's something that we're going to end up seeing in this lifetime?
Yeah, I think just the fact that we can even have that question, we're already here. We have to appreciate where we at as a species. We come from dark ages, medieval times. We're really here in a beautiful space. It might not be perfect, but we're still in the future. We're still in a particular realm where consciousness is just getting bigger and bigger. You know what I'm saying? It's never everybody's becoming more conscious of what they eat, what they consume on all levels. So I think it's inevitable to get to that point. And I think we're so close to that point. It's just a matter of just changing a few things up. And I think a lot of the technology will help us get there. Before you know it, we'll have Elysium, and we'll have all these different things that can heal us, and we can live an extra 100 years. I see it. I think we're close. We just have to get the right technology in the right hands for people that's trying to do it to help, opposed to make money. So
yes,
Yeah.
that part. So listen, man, if I could ask you, what's your message for the world, man? Like, if you had a message to put out to humanity, what would it be?
It would be to remain childlike. Don't be so bitter and so old and set and uncreative. So that creativity and that childlike wonder, because we are all children in this experience. And I think sometimes people become so bitter and so just too grown, man, too professional, too by the book, So you're here to explore it, and I think children are that beautiful spirit that's untainted to say, hey, we want to have fun today. I respect everybody. I love everybody. I'm not judging nobody. I'm not saying you're less conscious than me. And because I think the more knowledge we get, we tend to separate people, and we tend to treat other people differently. And I think that's all of us. I think we all got to check ourselves at some point and say, hey, how am I being right now? I'm getting this, even though we start getting knowledge and evolving, but we still have to leave room for people that's got more time to get there. And just love, man. Don't take life too seriously, to that childlike ability, because that's where the magic is at. That's how my music come out. When I go into the music, I'm going there to create. I don't care about nothing, I just care about, whatever is in my heart. And I love to experiment. So yeah.
I love that. Everybody's perfect just the way they are right now at this moment. And be childlike.
And separation's an illusion.
100%. All right, man. Well, listen, Donny Arcade, thank you so much for being on the.
Haven't listened to his music.
Yeah,
Check it out on all major platforms.
Do you want
Spotify.
Do you want to drop anything right now where people can look your stuff up, or anything you want to put out there right now?
Yeah. All platforms, but the new album, you can check it out on Spotify. It's called Everybody Wants Your Energy. And once again, I'm Donny Arcade, and check it out. It's a pretty good album. It'll give you good, relaxed vibes. It'll take you on a little mission. But at the end of the day, when you get to the last song, which is called "Try to Understand," and that's what I'm trying to do at the end of the album. Even though I might be kind of judgmental in the beginning, say, "Hey, everybody wants your energy," but then you got to get to a point and say, "Hey, well, let me try to understand. Let me try to figure out why you this way, and not take it so personal." So
yeah, and then I love that he got this new song. It's called Energy Vampires, and make sure that you protect your energy and that you stay around good people that are gonna lift you and keep that vibration high with you, right, man?
Nobody's told you that they love you lately?
We do.